Oh, it's a nasty day. Oh, get out to the car. Alright. A little messy, we've been using it. Alright guys, so I'm in my wife's new, get the mirror situated, new to us 2017 Explorer XLT. This is the 2.3 liter EcoBoost model, and we got the car from Carvana, and so I kind of want to go over in this video just the general how it went, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and I'm just going to kind of talk through it, and we'll jump into some clips where you guys can see the experience, and this will just be my general overall review. So we initially went on Carvana. We found a 2017 Explorer that was black, and we had it brought to the house. And this is just kind of a summary because this is about a month later almost, and we had this Explorer brought to the house, and we went and test drove it. But as soon as they were loading it off the trailer, though, I could see some things that I had some questions on. The mufflers had some pretty good corrosion, and it's being a 2017, way more corrosion than my wife's 2010 Edge had. So I was kind of, apprehensive at first. But there's the Carvana policy being you have like an hour to look the car over, test drive it, do whatever, and then you have 7 days after that, for whatever reason, to say, 7 days, 400 miles, to say, I don't want it. And so I felt like an hour wasn't enough time to look it over, but in my hour, we get the car down, we take it for a ride, the brakes are squeaking pretty good, and there's corrosion on the calipers, or the rotors, so that kind of made me question a few things as well. I drove the car, there was corrosion, caused a lot of squeaking in the wheels, and that kind of, I was like, oh, it needs new brakes. Okay, it needs new rotors, no big deal. And so we take the car back, and I bring it to the attention of the Carvana delivery driver, who I do want to say, the great thing about them is they don't push at all. They're just there to document and take the car away or leave it if you want it. So I tell the Carvana driver, hey, the brakes are squeaking, and then I get out and I can hear a squeaking coming from the motor. And at first I was like, that sounds like a pulley, and in order for me to fully investigate, I said, and we signed for the car to keep it. After we did that, I get the car up on ramps pretty much as soon as the guy leaves, about 5 hours later, and after I get on ramps, I look under the car, and first thing I notice is that there's no skid plate for the motor, but I listen to, I put my head right to the motor, and I can hear, coming from the transmission, a pretty good high-pitched whirring noise, and it changed pitch. The reason I know it was a transmission is because when you put it in gear, it would change pitch. So it's changes under loading, and that really concerned me, that there was a bad pulley or something in there. So I went ahead and called Carvana and said, come take this car back, there's too many problems. And that was the other thing that I haven't even mentioned here, is that as soon as we opened the car up, there was just a mess. Like, there was goldfish everywhere in between the back seats when I folded them down, and then there was like this green goo in between the clasps that buckled the seat down. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way at first, and I was like, I don't like this. And my wife didn't even want to go with Carvana again, but I convinced her, and we pulled the trigger, and we ordered a replacement swap, which they brought to us pretty quickly. The replacement, instead of, the first car was a 2017 3.5 liter four-wheel drive. The replacement, which I'm in right now, was the 2.3 liter turbo front-wheel drive. I decided I didn't want to mess around with a four-wheel drive. I'm not super familiar with the four-wheel drive systems that go from front to rear. It just, I don't know, it's something sat wrong with it, with the design about it. So I decided I didn't want it. We don't need it. We're in North Carolina. So we get the replacement car, and they drop it off. Same kind of ordeal. I explained all the problems we had with the first car, and the first thing that happens is I go straight to the back seat, because I found out it came from the same dealership as the last one, boom, fold it down. The detailing guys sucked again. There was a little bit of dog hair back there and some grass under the seat that was folded down. So honestly, no big deal. They cleaned every other surface pretty well. The other thing I noted is that like they really suck at their engine detailing. This one wasn't as bad as the last one. The last one, it looked like they literally just took the wipe to the engine cover, wiped it off a little bit, not even all the way. They just kind of like making like a semicircle, wiping it, and I was like, that's not right, man. Come on, you guys just try a little bit harder. Like, my son could do better than this. And so I was a little frustrated with that. And I explained my frustrations to the driver, and he documented all that stuff. So I dropped the car off, and I looked at it, we took it for a ride. It runs good, shifts good, it was a lot cleaner. I could tell there were, the last car, it was easy to tell based on the new one that, I mean, it came from Pennsylvania. I looked up the Carfax, and it had obviously it had been through a few snowstorms, and when you looked under the car, you could tell this thing's got some pretty good pickup for a 4-banger in this giant car. But you could tell, man, it had been through some snowstorms, and the previous owners, they must have just like not known about salt, because it was still under there. Like you could see it on everything that wasn't stainless steel. Stainless steel had a lot of rust marks, or steel had a lot of rust marks, but anything that wasn't stainless steel, like the aluminum, or the plastic down there, you could see the salt wash still caked on there. Like, come on, Carvana, do better at detailing that, right? But it's not just them. The previous owner just turned in a junk car, and Carvana took it back. So we decided we're keeping this 2017 we're in now. We went through a 7-day period. There was a light scratch on the back that he said it wasn't noted in the Carvana ad that I didn't even find. The detailer found it. Our driver found it for me. He hadn't pointed it out. I might not have even saw it. And so Carvana's making good, and they're fixing that. We have an appointment scheduled this upcoming week to get it looked at. I'm hoping you guys can hear me because I got the wipers working and all that. So we got an appointment scheduled to get that looked at. The other cool thing is my buddies have used Carvana before to buy it. He bought a Mustang with it here locally, and so I was able to get a $500 off my car because I said a buddy referred me, which was pretty neat. And then they also gave me another, oh yeah, this thing goes. They also gave me another $100 off for, not $100, they gave me a $100 credit for detailing the car because it wasn't detailed to my liking. Obviously we found the grass and a little bit of dog hair, so give us $100 to pay for that. That was pretty nice of them. The other thing that they did is what I thought was they sent us a card in the mail, which I thought it was the first thing to get here, and it was for a $100 gift card. And they said, sorry about your first car experience. You know, they basically like pride ourselves on cleaner or whatever stuff, right? And I thought that was my gift card for my detailing. Turns out that was just them saying sorry, so they gave us another $100, and we used that to buy a nice dinner the other night. So, yeah, Carvana's. Would I use them again? Yes, I would. I would go back again. I like the process a lot because I hate, one of my biggest pet peeves is going to a stinking or going to a freaking oh boy, somebody in front of me is doing something crazy. One of my biggest pet peeves is going to a dealership and just being paced at the dealership. Like, let me look, and if I want you, I'll come find you, right? I know they're trying to make a buck, but whatever. So I hate that. And there was no pushing from the driver at all. The other thing is, like, you know, you got these dealers, like we almost bought an Acadia too. We went and looked at it. That also had some problems I found with the variable valve timing. It had like this tick. Told them that PVC was. I figured this stuff out. They didn't figure it out. I questioned it there, and the salesman knew nothing. But I brought the car back, and I wanted them to run the numbers for me, just out of curiosity before. And the guy, he pulls up all this spreadsheet, right? And here's your charges. And there was a $995 dealer fee, and I asked him what the dealer fee was for, and he said, "Oh, you know, it's the ladies in the back." And I'm like, "Come on, you kidding me? Ladies in the back? What a bogus load of crap." And I mean, their overhead on those cars is so big because they freaking, I'm sorry, not the overhead, the profit margin is huge because they lowball trading values. I mean, it just frustrated me. So, good thing with Carvana is when you click that reserve button, you get 45 minutes to look at the car, and then it goes back on the listing unless you've already processed your work, right? And so I lost my train of thought. So when you click check out on the app, right, it books that car for you, and you can see the out the door price, which includes the registration, taxes, and all that. And delivery, if you're within a reasonable range from the dealership, is always free, which is nice. I actually paid $400 for my first one to get delivered, and I was actually super livid because I thought I was going to lose that. And they ended up giving it back, and everything was hunky-dory because I was going to be fighting that tooth and nail, because if it had been it would have been one thing if they delivered me a good car and I just said no. But they delivered me a lemon, and I was not about to pay $400 to have a lemon taken back because they screwed me. So I'm glad Carvana made right on that, and I do recommend them in the future. I think they're still learning their way because their business grew so fast, so suddenly due to COVID. I mean, you go on their website, at least here for the Explorers, they're as soon as they pop up, as soon as the Explorers pop up, they're freaking flying out and they're being reserved. So their inventory is moving, and I think the pandemic's obviously helping that, and the fact that they'll bring it to you. But yeah, I'll do a full review video of this car. I'll do a full review video of this car when I get a moment and kind of go over it and tell you my impressions of it. I know it's not Mustang related or MG related, but you know, it's just something different. It's a new car to me and my wife, even though it's 4 years old, or yeah, 4 years old. But it's nice. We like it. Only had 39,000 miles when we got it. But appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like that video, like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll bring you guys more content in the future.